Hi, I'm Brad. Not at CES. There was one booth at CES that I really wasn't planning on going to and doing a video on, and that was the Pimax booth. The main reason being the fact that a month and a half ago I did a Pimax video. I gave all my what I saw back in the roadshow, and the response to it was just kind of annoying to deal with, and I wasn't really in the mood to do another one of those things. I didn't believe that there was going to be any updates to the products that was overly different, but I will say I was wrong. After I was finishing up a demo at a different booth, one of the Pimax volunteers found me and drugged me over there just so they can show what Pimax has been up to. And as the title of this video sort of hints to, they've made some pretty big improvements over the 1 month and a half that I've last seen it. So I'm glad they did drag me over there to make this video. Now this video is mostly talking about the Pimax Crystal. It's not going to talk about the Pimax Portal at all. In my last video, I said the Pimax Portal is kind of a really bad product. Like, it's just not worth it compared to other things that are designed specifically for VR rather than a tablet that you slot in, similar to a Nintendo Switch Google Cardboard concept. And talking to other people at the show that did try it either for the first time or trying it again, that still seems to be the case. No one is excited or interested in the Portal that much. But the Crystal had some new things to show at the event, including an updated inside-out tracking, the Lighthouse tracking attachment, which retails for $200 to be able to use with bait stations and Knuckles controllers, for example. There was the 42 pixels per degree miniature lens that you can slot in instead of the 35 ppd lens that had a wider FOV. And they had what looks to be a dummy unit of the WiGig module, which was using mini HDMI. I don't really know how that works, but that was interesting. But yeah, they have improved on a few things, and even though they might have reverted back on some of the other stuff, which we'll get into a little bit. The first thing I really want to talk about was the major things that they definitely improved on, and that was the inside-out tracking. So the last time I went to the roadshow, they were terrified to show me that inside-out tracking, and it was for good reason. It was practically unusable. Even turning off the lights, turning them on, doing all these different things, it was an absolute mess, and I couldn't imagine this VR headset to be an actual 6COF VR headset at the time. And I reviewed it as such. I said that this headset might be good for people are into simulators or stuff like that because there was just no tracking system at that event. But when I went back and tried it at CES, they actually seemed to, what they quote unquote, added the algorithms. And yeah, the actual Quest 2 like controller tracking system was working fine. I demoed Pistol Whip in pretty intense game if you have never played it. You have to do a lot of different movements, get out of the way. It's like a more move your body version of Beat Saber. So that was good. I was again really impressed with that. There were some people I talked to that had issues, so it might be due to the fact that the Pimax software does get buggy. There's a few moments in some of the demos where if I open the SteamVR menu, things would just start to lag and basically the entire headset would become unusable until you do a full SteamVR launch. So it seems to rely still heavily on the PC quality for the tracking to be good because there's no standalone at all still. That is just non-existent. I know they kind of advertise it as a one day to be standalone with a software update. That's still not being shown. They don't know when that's going to happen. It's still, that chip inside, that XR2 chip is still being used purely as a PC VR device, which for me is fine. That's how I would use a device like that anyway. The next thing I got to see that was brand new to the show was the Lighthouse tracking faceplate that can snap into the front of the headset. It does add even more weight to the front of the headset. So that is kind of something, I already feel Pimax headsets are a little bit front heavy and bulky already. So adding on even more weight for that functionality kind of is unfortunate, but it is something I still would probably do if I were to get this headset, was to upgrade to Lighthouse pretty much right away. The tracking was great. I even covered some stuff, seeing how well their inclusion and their tracker Lighthouse diode separation was. Everything worked fine for that unit. It is $200 as an upgrade, and of course, you know, that's just for people that already have Lighthouse, which is pretty much the majority of people who have a Pimax, because every Pimax before the Crystal was a Lighthouse-enabled headset. Finally, that leads me to optics. At the Lighthouse demo, they were actually demoing Half-Life Alyx with the 35 pixels per degree wider FOV lens. And let me tell you, so there was a report during the roadshow by a MRTV that there was a weird issue with the focal point, where things up close look amazingly clear, super crisp, beautiful colors. But then you start getting out of arm's distance and things just get super blurry. I didn't experience that at the Pimax Roadshow, And I believe it was Kevin who told me at that event that they've flown in a special lens that would solve for that one issue. Well, unfortunately for that demos I tried at the CES, that issue seemed to return. So somehow I guess one of those older sample lenses came back and it kind of ruined the whole demo and still makes me a little eerie to pre-order the device until I know that every unit will get the improved lens. But just to give them some credit, if the entire image does actually get as clear as that near view image where things are truly really clear, crisp, like it looks good, then it is going to be a good headset for people that don't mind the heavy bulkness. Now, for people who were kind of giving me a hard time about saying that the lens change out system is just a huge gimmick and I was being too harsh about it because I didn't get a chance to try the 42 pixels per degree lens at the roadshow. Well, let me tell you, I finally got to try it and it's awful. Like, actually, it obviously looks super clear, but the FOV for that lens is so tiny. Not only that, it's square. Each eye gives you a totally square FOV that is super small. Honestly, if I was using that for a long time in a game, I would genuinely feel pretty nauseous using it. In fact, I was talking to other people who did test out that lenses, and they were already saying that, yeah, due to the weirdness of the low FOV, seasoned VR veterans were just getting a little uncomfortable. Now, the good thing about this booth in general was all the people that know me at Pimax, they were very kind people. I know some of them were probably nervous for me to come back and probably trash on them again, but I feel I've been pretty fair last time and this time. There is one thing I have a complaint about in the entire Pimax booth, and when I did voice my issues about the focal point issue, a few of the people there were just trying to say that I was the only one that complained about it and that are you farsighted, Brad? No one else complained about it. Are you crazy? Like, I kind of felt gaslit a little bit. So I did leave the booth feeling that maybe there was something wrong with me because they were just convincing me so well that it was just a me problem. But then, of course, as I always do at these shows, I asked people who tried it. And what I would do, I wouldn't ask them if they had a focal point issue. I would be like, so did you try the Pimax demo? Did you notice any weirdness? And they would tell me things far away would look blurry, or things medium to far away would look super blurry. And I'd be like, "Yeah." So there were other people that were having this issue. So it drove me nuts. That made me feel a little frustrated. But otherwise, they have improved quite a lot in a month and a half, and I give them props for it. I'm still waiting until things get way more ironed out than they are. Again, there were some issues with the software where things were just lagging. The IPD adjustment thing was like kind of bugging out. It's a mechanical IPD, so you'd hold down a button and you would hear it go, but sometimes it just didn't work and I couldn't see the number of the IPD in the headset. So there's still way more they need to work on before I would be comfortable in recommending it for people right away. But I think when they do get all these things ironed out, this will be the best Pimax headset that they've released. Yeah. But that's pretty much all I had to say about the Pimax. Props to them for improving in such a short period of time. I'm sure the engineers were working hard against the clock to get everything ready for CES, and good job. Hopefully the next time I see it will be even way better than this time. All right, that's it. Bye.